Hey everybody. So I want to talk about the Taylor Hall situation with the New Jersey Devils and basically explain why I think the New Jersey Devils should trade Taylor Hall this season. Now before we get into the video, I just want to quickly remind everyone to please hit that like button and give this video a thumbs up. That greatly helps out the channel. And if you're new to the channel and happen to be watching, please hit that subscribe button down below and follow along for all my hockey content this season and all year round. So Taylor Hall, obviously one of the most talked about names this season as far as upcoming free agents. He's in a contract year. He will set to become an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season. There's been a lot of discussions about whether he stays in New Jersey, whether he leaves in free agency, or whether he gets traded at some point this season. And basically, my point in this video is that the New Jersey Devils should trade Taylor Hall at some point this season and at least get something for him in return, because if they don't, I really think he's going to walk in free agency, and I don't see him re-signing with the Devils. So Taylor Hall, and everything that I've read recently about him, everything I've seen about him and his contract situation, Taylor Hall wants to win. He wants to go to a contending team and have a chance to win a Stanley Cup. This isn't about the money. This isn't about getting a huge contract. This isn't about, making as much of a as much money per season as possible. Taylor Hall, and everything that I've heard, wants to win, and he wants to be on a good, playoff contending team. New Jersey right now is not that, and New Jersey is not going to be that until they figure a few things out, their goaltending being the number one issue. The Devils were a last-place team last season, finished last in the Metro, made some big splash moves this offseason, adding PK Subban, adding Wayne Simmons, drafting Jack Hughes number 1 overall. And there was a lot of optimism about New Jersey heading into this season and how much better could they be, and could they be a playoff team this season? Well, so far this year, they're 5-7-4. They have not performed at a high level. They're the third worst team in the Eastern Conference right now. And it's been a really disappointing start to the year for New Jersey. And I think with every loss that piles up here, the chances of them keeping Taylor Hall get lower and lower and lower. Because from what I've seen from the New Jersey Devils, they are not ready to be a playoff team yet. Those splash moves really haven't paid off. And they're still a few years away from ever being a top-tier team, or even having the potential to be a top-tier team. The goaltending duo of Mackenzie Blackwood and Corey Schneider just isn't going to cut it. Schneider has been absolutely awful this year. Blackwood's had some decent games. He's also had some really bad games. I don't trust him to be a full-time starter. Goaltending is the main issue with this team, but there are many issues, as their goal differential is -19 already to start this year. They've given up 61 goals in 16 games. That is not a team that's going to make the playoffs, and that is not a team that, if they were to somehow have a good stretch and pull into a wild card spot, that's not the kind of team that's going to win anything in the playoffs. That's the kind of team that gets swept out in the first round, or loses in 5 games in the first round and is back to, square one. Taylor Hall doesn't want that. Taylor Hall wants to play for a team that has a legitimate shot to win the Stanley Cup. And with where New Jersey is at right now, I just don't see that happening in the next couple of years. I don't see them being a cup-level team, not even close. So I think the best bet for the Devils is to trade Taylor Hall. Listen, Taylor Hall is a very, very good high-end player. He's 27 years old, right in the prime of his career. He's got 15 points in 16 games to start this season. He missed most of last year with an injury. He only played 33 games, but he had 37 points in those 33 games that he did play. And the year before, he was the league MVP, scoring 39 goals and 93 points. So we know the elite talent that Taylor Hall has. We know how good of a player he is and how good he can be. And other GMs around the league know how good he can be. So the Devils have a chance here to take a player that I don't think is going to re-sign with them. I think re-signing with the Devils is probably the least likely thing to happen in all of this Taylor Hall, New Jersey situation. I just don't see him signing back with a team that isn't going to be winning Stanley Cups anytime soon. And I think he wants to. Listen, I'm sure he would love the chance to walk and go to hit free agency and have his choice of team basically. And he still might do that. He might get traded and then not re-sign with the team he's traded to and hit free agency anyway. But if you're the New Jersey Devils here, you have to get something in return for Taylor Hall. If you're the GM of New Jersey, you have to look at this situation and go, it's very unlikely that he stays here. He's probably not going to stay. So either we keep him this season, try and make the playoffs as maybe a wild card team this season, maybe turn things around, and then, possibly go on a run. Although with this goaltending, I don't see that happening. I actually don't, at this point, don't think New Jersey's going to, I think they're going to be one of the bottom two teams in that division, in the Metro. But anyway, you can either, try and make a run this season and then watch him leave in free agency. Hope, maybe, possibly, if you do turn things around this season, hope that making the playoffs is enough to make Hall want to stay and see the potential of this team going forward and go, okay, maybe this team can win in the future, and maybe that's enough to get him re-signed, although I highly, highly doubt that. Or you can say, Taylor Hall's probably not going to stay here. We can let him walk in free agency at the end of the year, and he's going to be gone, and we get nothing in return. Or we can trade him and get at least something in return for Taylor Hall. And if I'm the GM of New Jersey, that I think is the best option, because New Jersey's a team that is still kind of rebuilding. They've added some really good players for sure, but they've still got a little ways to go. Obviously, looking where they are in the standings right now, they're not ready yet. They're not there yet, so they still need to help improve this team. And a guy like Taylor Hall is going to fetch a large return. They should be able to get a lot of value in return for Hall. If it was some kind of sign and trade deal where he is guaranteed to stay with the team that he gets traded to, you could get a massive amount in return for Taylor Hall. Even if it's only the expiring contract and the team that trades for him will only get him for the rest of the season, and then he could potentially leave in free agency this summer, you're still going to get a good amount in return for a player like Taylor Hall. This is a guy with 35 to 40 goal potential if he stays healthy, a guy who's scored 90 points in the league before and could possibly do it again. He's almost a point-per-game player to start this season and could easily become one as the year goes along. So you're looking at 80-plus points there. This is a guy who, even if he's a pending free agent, could still get you a first-round pick and a prospect in return. The haul for Taylor Hall is going to be pretty darn high. So if you're the New Jersey Devils, you have got to think about this, and you've got to look at realistically. You have to look realistically at what is likely to happen here. I feel like way too much in the NHL, management think that the team is better than they actually are, and they don't really look at things realistically, and they think, all it takes is one win streak and we're in the playoffs. But yeah, okay, if you make the playoffs, fine, but what are the chances of you actually going deep into the playoffs or having a legitimate Stanley Cup run? Not very high. So you have to look at that and go, what's a realistic thing to happen here? And I think if you're the Devils, you have to know that it's pretty unlikely Hall stays. So you got to trade him, I think, at some point this season. Maybe you give it, not in a rush to trade him or anything like that, but maybe you give it deeper into the year. Maybe you wait all the way until the trade deadline. See if this team can maybe start winning games, although I'm very doubtful about that. I think this is going to be a team that's at or below 500 pretty much all season long. Their goaltending is just not good enough. Their team defense just is not good enough, and that division is too difficult to have issues like that. That division is just way too difficult. There's much better teams there, and I just don't see them holding up in that Metro division. So you got to get something in return, something that will help your future, something that will be part of the rebuild going on in New Jersey. You know, first round pick, obviously, I would want to be just a part of this deal, a prospect probably as well. But you got to get something that's going to help this team moving forward. It's better than letting Hall just leave at the end of the year in free agency, because that's what's going to happen, I think, if New Jersey doesn't trade Taylor Hall. So I think I think most people would agree with me. It's better to get something in return than just lose him for nothing. And I think the chances of him re-signing are very, very low at this point. So I really do think that trading Hall is the best option for the New Jersey Devils. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.